What's up, guys? I know it's been too long since I've posted anything, but I do have another friend's car that I'll be working on, and if you ask me, it does seem to be a pretty interesting project. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all what that is right now. Yes, sir. We're working on this Lexus right here. Did get in quite a bad wreck, sort of. The whole fender, obviously. Got the replacement inside, that's fine, but the whole fender's gonna get replaced. We are gonna do some adjusting on this door since it's not too bad of that damage. It just kind of got bent in. So we'll just go ahead and pull that out, grind that off, take the rust off, putty it if needed, sand it, prime it up, get it looking right again. It is the IS350. It is quite a good little whip if you ask me, but there's more to it. We are actually going to be doing a front end conversion to the newer models. Now I'm not 100% sure what year model is it that started with the whole grill that goes all the way to the bottom, but if you ask me, I personally do like this front end more. And we have the side skirt replacement. Excuse the mess, I know I have such a huge mess. I'm actually in the process of cleaning up the shop right now, so just please ignore that. But yes, this is gonna be the project, so y'all guys stay tuned and I hope y'all enjoy. All right, so right now I'm pretty much just test fitting the side skirt because it was damaged stuff from the front. It was all tore up. It's actually over there. It fits well. I went ahead and put the fender in too. The gaps are off by a bit. As you can see, it's a little bit wider here than it is over here, but that will require some adjusting. Right now, I'm just mainly focusing on getting it on there to get this to be leveled with that, because I pulled this out already. As y'all saw, it was crushed in, but now I'm working on just banging it down because when I pulled it, it was a little bit too out, so now I'm pushing it back in. So I'm just trying to get that aligned. So far it's going pretty okay. I will obviously, sand it down, Bondo it, primer, and repaint the door. But again, right now I'm just focusing on that. The fender does seem to fit up quite well. I still have to test fit the headlight, but so far everything is looking pretty good. So once I get that headlight on, I do know that I will have to do some trimming to this piece to fit the new bumper. So that will be the next step. Figuring out exactly how much to trim off of this piece to fit on the new gen bumper. And once I have an idea of how everything's gonna fit up, I'm gonna go ahead and start preparing the fender, the side skirt, and this bumper for paint. But stay tuned. All right, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I went ahead and started grinding this area so I can prep it for body work. I did test fit the fenders, the headlight, and the bumper, which I had to make some adjustments. As you can see, I did have to cut off this part and this corner off of the front, just because the way that the tail lights are set up, the fog lights, I apologize. The fog lights, if you look at it from the inside, bad camera angle, but look, it was scraping all right here, so I went ahead and cut that off on the car so that the fitment was better. It did get a push a little bit in from this side, but homeboy said that he was cool with it, that he'll fix it at a later time, that his main focus was just getting it assembled so that it's not looking like it's missing pieces. So I'll show y'all guys a clip of that. And pretty much right now what we're gonna focus on is getting started on the body work for this side. I will probably go ahead and take off the side mirror and the trim just so that whenever I'm sanding, I don't mess any of that up. And the door handle as well, I'll take it off just so that whenever it gets ready to get wet sanded and painted, it's a less tedious process. So once I get this body work done and the door wet sanded, it will be time to wet sand the front. Well, disassemble it first. Take off the grill, take off the fog lights, and then get started on the side skirt as well. Wet sand this, wash it, wet sand it, get it prepped for paint. I went ahead and got me the TranStar can primer just because it's a lot easier to deal with. I do have my can primer right there, but it's just such a tedious process mixing it and cleaning my gun. Even though I do have a little cheap Harbor Freight gun, it's still such a pain in the ass to have to wash it, so I'm gonna stick with my primer. So pretty much, oh, and the fender, I have it right there. I'm gonna wet sand that as well. But again, right now we are just gonna focus on handling that body. We readjusted the fender, so now the gaps are looking a lot better. Yeah, we got a few scratches on the primer, but that's not an issue. It's gonna get wet sanded. We had and put the guide coat on it as well. But check that out, guys. I actually had a buddy of mine come and give me a hand, and he did such an amazing job. He actually corrected my work. But the door is looking great. The fender, once again, everything's lining up a lot better. It was a little bit lifted from this tip right here. This was a little bit higher than the hood, but like I said, homeboy took care of that. I went ahead and disassembled the whole bumper as well. I went and scuffed it down. I'm gonna give it a good wash because, as you can see, it does have some dust on it. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a good little wash once again, dry it off, wax and grease remove it, and then go ahead and prime up the whole bumper. And then once that is primered up, while it dries, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on wet sanding the side skirt. And once again, do the same thing, wash it off, get this primered up, and then pretty much get everything ready for paint. I got my boy Eric, came through to chill. So real quick, what we went ahead and did right now is we took off the door handles, the side mirror. We're gonna go ahead and wet sand this panel right here, wet sand the whole door while we're at it, took off the trim as well. The fender did have a couple dings, so I went ahead and filled those in with putty. I had a pretty deep scratch there that I hadn't noticed at first, but I'm getting it taken care of right now. So while that dries, I went ahead and actually primered the bumper, threw some guide coat on it. I did throw a couple heavy coats, but hey, that's fine. I won't mind the extra sanding. So that's pretty much it for the bumper. And then the side skirt, I haven't officially started on it yet, but I am prepping the fender first. I'm gonna go ahead and prime the spots that I sanded on and filled in with putty. And while I let that primer dry, I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the side skirt, sand that down, any imperfections, fill them in as well, prime it up, sand it down, and then it'll be pretty much ready for paint. And sanded it down, go ahead through the primer and sanding out the primer as well. Right here, I did notice that I did not put enough primer, but honestly, as I'm touching it, you do not feel any of the scratches. So we're just gonna go ahead and stick with that because I believe that once it gets painted, the texture will still look good. Up next, I just have to go ahead and do the bumper, which I did throw my guide coat on, and the side skirt. So let's get to that. All right, so finally the door is prepped, the fender is prepped, the side skirt is prepped. They had like a little scuff right there, so we went ahead and took care of that. Just put a little bit of putty, primered that out. Same with the bumper, primered it, sanded it. Reason being I didn't primer this was it's gonna be covered by the grill, so it really doesn't matter. It's gonna stay black. Sand it down. I might touch up these little areas where I ate up the primer, might not though, since it is really well scuffed. We'll see on that. But the next step is gonna be to pretty much wrap up the car, to cover up what doesn't need to get paint on, and get everything else painted pretty much. All right guys, so the masking is pretty much done on the car. It does have some kind of a shine right here, but again, the reason is because I just scuffed it since I will only be laying clear on this. It is well scuffed. You just can't really tell on camera, but I did sand this down fairly well, which is what is gonna get repainted, as well as this whole fender. And yeah, I know, I just kind of use some newspaper to kind of cover up, but it's just mainly so I won't overspray on the areas. But if I shoot from this angle, you know, I really won't be having an issue. And if I get some paint on this, owner said it's all right, so not a big deal. Got the side skirt prepared as well, and the front bumper. And pretty much right now what I'm gonna work on doing is wax and grease removing everything. Once that's done, I'll go ahead and get started on the paint and start shooting. This is all finished up. I only got late footage of it leaving, but it is all finished up. Till next time. So I know that I haven't been uploading like I should be, but little by little I will be getting in more projects, and hopefully y'all guys tune in to enjoy the content just as much as I enjoy doing it. Alright guys, so see y'all in the next video, which will be I don't know when.